This demo will show how to secretly teach advanced programming to beginners. First, we'll show how to snap together instruction blocks to build real lines of Java code. We'll do this in the context of a model view controller paradigm, and the view will be constructed using a real UI builder. And finally, we'll not only create a desktop application, but we'll also create a browser application by transcompiling Java to JavaScript. So with SnapCode launched here, I'll go ahead and start by creating a new project. And I'm going to call this cat and mouse. And I'll go ahead and open this. And so this creates a new empty project. And I could go ahead and create a new Java file here, or I could drag and drop in resources. But I'm going to go ahead and start by creating a new snap scene. And so this is a great tool for beginners that's very much like Scratch or Greenfoot. And so just by creating that, I get this scene object here. And this is our model view controller paradigm. This is a controller class that loads our UI file. And it has several methods for initializing the UI and resetting the UI and responding to UI, or code that's called on every frame of the animation. And then it's got a standard main method. And in fact, I can go ahead and switch over to Java code here. So even though it's comfortable for beginners to see the puzzle pieces, behind the scenes, we've got actual code. And so here's our main method down here. And it just creates this controller class and tells it to set its window visible. So I'll go ahead and switch back to SnapCode. And I'll go ahead and head back to our UI builder. And so in our UI builder, we could start to draw in the background, or we could drag and drop in application components. But I'm going to drag in a special kind of component called a cast member. And so this is a cat. And when I drag it in, it creates a cat.java file for me. And a cat is an instance of a snap actor. And an actor has methods like moving and turning. And it has two methods by default, the constructor for creating a new cat, and then an act method that gets called on every frame of the animation. And so I'll start by, I'm just going to drag and drop in a move instruction block here. So on every frame, it'll move forward. But I also want it to rotate, to turn by the angle between the actor and the mouse, or the cat and the mouse. And then I'm going to scroll down here. There's other methods, but one in particular is I want to, on every frame, also change the pen color. So this is a pen that gets dragged behind our actor. And to activate that, we have to drag the pen down instruction into the constructor here. And so, we've created a very simple application here by dragging in all these instructions. And again, if I click on Java code here, we see the actual code that we've created by doing this. So we're doing this in the context of a real programming language. And if we wanted to see the actual documentation for the class, we just click on the Java doc button there, and we can see the Java docs. But with those instructions in there, I'll just go ahead and hit run. And this launches our application. And there's our cat. And if I hit run, the cat will chase the mouse. So with just a few minutes of coding here, we've written our first game. So I'll go ahead and quit that. And I'm going to go back to our UI file. And so now I can build this out a little bit. And since UI is layout intensive, I'm going to expand to the full IDE here. And I'm going to go ahead and drag in, I'm going to make a sun for our background here. And I'll make that yellow, and I'll go ahead and create some ground over here. And I'll make that green. And then just to be silly, I'm going to drag and drop in a button and a text field and a slider and a thumb wheel. And so we have a full UI builder here. And working with those is a topic for another video. But with all those added in there, I'm going to bring our actor to the front again. And I'll go ahead and contract this and run our program again. And so now we have the same desktop application. but we've got a thumb wheel in it now and a slider and a text field and a button, and I can still hit run, and our actor will run around and go close to the sun there. So now we have a much more sophisticated application. Cat's chasing the mouse over a background, and we've got our controls in there. And so finally, what I want to do is I'm going to go back to the home page for SnapCode, and I want to add the SnapT project. And so this uses the TVM transcompiler to compile from Java to JavaScript. And so I'll go back to our main controller class, and I'm going to go to Java code. And so to activate the TVM compiler, I just need to install the TV adapter. And so with that installed, I will double click on our file here. And instead of compiling to Java and running the desktop app, this time it'll compile to JavaScript and launch it in the browser. And it's created a stub index.html that loads our JavaScript. And so just like as our desktop app, I can hit run, and our cat runs around the screen. I can make the frame rate a little faster to make the game more challenging. And I'll go ahead and pause that. And also all of our controls still work as well. So this has been a demo of teaching a beginning programmer, somebody who's just coming at it with no background at all, and getting them comfortable with the idea of instructions just being drag and drop blocks, but also being aware that behind the scenes, they've actually got real lines of code that when they're ready to deal with balanced parens and brackets and quotes and terminating semicolons, that's something they're aware of. And also aware of the idea that every application has a controller, and that controller can be responsible for loading up a view. And if we wanted to, we could even look at that view as text. And so here's the XML that describes all that view. Our cat actor is down here, and our thumb wheel and slider, and our rectangle, and our sun. So we've used a UI builder to build our desktop application, and after we got that desktop application, we saw how to use that to generate our browser application using the TVM transcompiler and run that in the browser. And this is the end of the demo.